I'm going to turn it over to the best play-by-play guy in the league, Bob Rathbun.
Thank you, Chris. Before we get to Mike, just want to say from Coach Quinn Snyder, he wanted to be here tonight. There's nothing he would rather do than be here with coaches. And something came up last minute. Mike's going to pinch hit. So I just wanted to express from Coach his regrets for not being able to be with you here tonight. This man to my right, he's my running buddy on the road. Now, let me clarify that. At our age, running buddy means get down the elevator in the morning and get to the free coffee in the lobby of the hotel before the shoot-around bus leaves. That's right?
That's exactly
These
right.
days. But Mike Brey joined us a couple of years ago after an absolutely sensational coaching career, the winningest coach in Notre Dame history, and we'll get into all that here as we chat in just a bit. But a lifetime in this game, and nobody is a coach whisperer more or better than Mike Brey. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
Thank you.
Coach Mike Brey.
Thank you.
Well, Michael, it's good to see you.
Here we go. It's been neat this week because we've got everybody back in our OTA mode except Ricochet and Porzingis, and so the pickup game's been pretty good, and Skyhawks guys are in here. We've had good energy, and certainly next Tuesday we really crank it up with a couple two-a-days, and here we go.
Yeah, I'll be in my perch
You'll
up there.
You'll be up there calling out of bounds plays.
So we're so excited to get going because we're going to be good, and we're going to win a lot of games. That's really got me fired up. But I want these coaches, Mike, to get to know you like we know you, and one story that I want you to tell early on is about your mom, Betty. How about this story from the swimming pool?
Yeah, my mom swam in the 1956 Olympics, and in Melbourne, Australia, and she tried to make swimmers out of all of us. She caught me sneaking out of swimmers practice when I was 10 years old, and I said, "Mom, can I please go to basketball camp?" And she said, "We're going to let you go to basketball camp." And the Metropolitan Area Basketball School in Washington, D.C., run by Morgan Wooten and Joe Gallagher. I went there at 10 years old, and my first coach was Adrian Dantley. How about that? Talk about, and then I end up coaching at Notre Dame. And so the rest is history. But Bob Ferry, Danny's father, always used to say, well, at least you have one athlete in the family, your mother.
And you mentioned the name Morgan Wooten because anybody it knows anything about the history of high school basketball, the man was an absolute legend. Not only did you play for him at DeMatha, but you later coached with him. Tell us the connection with DeMatha and Coach Wooten.
Well, I started at the camp, and he did a lot of good recruiting out of the camp of all the players in Washington, D.C., and it was a dream to go over there, and I went and played for him. And then when I finished at George Washington University, I came back and coached with him, and it was funny because I think there's probably some coaches out there maybe in the same phase of coaching career that I was, and I had the opportunity to go back to GW, stay at GW as a grad assistant, and he said, you need to come with me back to DeMatha because you have to have your own team, and I'm going to give you the JV, and you need to have your own team. And I was 23 years old and be responsible for practice plans and getting organized, and then help me with the varsity. And I was really fortunate, and I know we have some coaches out there that certainly have a full, I did, at a Catholic high school back then, you taught 6 classes U.S. history, you did 2 study halls, and then, the Catholics ran bingos on the weekends to raise money, and I had to work 12 bingos a year to kind of, so I learned how to work hard at DeMatha High School, and I was with Coach Wooten every day, just absorbing, and so I was really, really fortunate. While I was there, Danny Ferry was a player. And I had him in my history class. I think he should have worked a little harder in my history class, now that I think of it, Bob. And then the interesting relationship is, Quinn and Danny were roommates at Duke University I got there in 87, 88, and Quinn and Danny were juniors. So Quinn was the junior point guard when I got there. And so it's an interesting life of b-ball, but the DeMatha High School, Morgan Wooten, that really set me up and learned so much. He was the ultimate teacher and educator, and it was just an amazing place to start your coaching career.
And we're blessed to have teachers and educators in our audience here tonight. The one thing, Mike, that you have exemplified through your entire coaching career, be it high school or college and now in the NBA, is the giving of confidence to players. Tell us why that is so important.
And I think there's part of me that never left the high school coach and teacher that I was, certainly through my years at Notre Dame and really even here with the young people I work with. We have a fabulous staff of coaches, but a lot of them, and they're young. And my whole thing, my last couple years at Notre Dame was with our theme, let's really be confidence givers. And I know the educators out there in the audience can really relate to that, with young people. When you can instill confidence on a daily basis, it's amazing what young people can achieve. And it's kind of a theme, really, the last maybe 15 years, and even here with our young coaches, with our young players, even with our veteran players sometimes, when maybe they're in a bad stretch or had a bad first half. How can you be a confidence giver and instill that, and how you talk to them in a positive way? I mean, it's when you watch film with your team, right? You want to go over things, and I mean, we'd go over things that maybe were breakdowns, but could you end your film session with a positive thing? Could you send them out on a positive note? Now, don't get me wrong, and you and I have all been there. There's some days you can't find much positive stuff on that film. And so you got to fake it a little bit too. But can you leave on a good note, an upbeat note, a positive note to give a young man or young lady some confidence before they head back to the dorm or head back home? One of the themes I also think, and I think all of you can relate to it, doesn't matter what level, I would say, we battle for their hearts and minds every day. And I would come into our staff meetings many times, and our staff would say, well, we got Syracuse Tuesday, so here, let's talk zone offense. I said, well, hold on a second. And then another assistant would say, but hey, I think we should do something a little bit different against the press. Here are my thoughts, X and O-wise. I said, well, wait a minute. How's Pat Connaughton? How's his head? Is he good? How's he feeling today? And to just to, make sure to get a group to chase a team goal for 5 months, 6 months is an amazingly tough thing. And every day you come in, and you're always looking and going, who could derail this, especially if it's going good? And you and I, many educators out there, when your players walk in, I could tell. I told him, I said, I know you like my son. I know, it's a great thing about basketball, right? We have 12 on the roster, 13 on the roster. We can really get to know them. And you walk down that tunnel to practice like, uh-oh, he had a bad day in class, something's going on. How do I diffuse that before we get to anything out here basketball-wise? And who needs that? And so that was a theme we'd come to, battling who do we need to talk to if they're struggling a little bit, giving confidence and having kind of people play. I told guys at times, I said, if you don't smile in the game in the first couple minutes, I'm taking you out. Guys would be like, what? I said, no, if you don't smile, I'm gonna take your ass out of the game. They're like, I've never played for a guy like this, and just to loosen it a little bit and kind of try to set the mood. So so much of it is handling psyches on a daily basis.
I think about our coaches as I look out over the audience tonight, and at various stages of their coaching career, getting started, trying to move up, all of that. I want you to tell the story about how you got to Duke, because you mentioned Danny Ferry, and we all know how the story ended with Danny going to Duke and being one of the greatest players in Duke history, one of the greatest players in the history of the Atlantic Coast Conference. But every college coach wanted him, and they all found their way to DeMatha, and it just so happened that young Michael Brey was right there to help them.
I was really fortunate, and and Coach Wooten said, you come with me. Every college coach is going to be through this gym because we've got really good players. If you want to go to college, there's probably a great chance you can get a college job. And of course, when Danny was a junior and senior, everybody left, and this was Lefty and Dean and certainly Mike Krzyzewski and Terry Holland and Bobby Cremens, and it was that era of the ACC coming through. But the one thing, Danny signed late. He didn't sign early. He signed late. Quinn Snyder signed early. And Quinn Snyder, quite frankly, did a hell of a job recruiting Danny Ferry after he signed. Jeff Lebo signed at North Carolina early. He didn't do as good a job recruiting Danny Ferry. Quinn did a great job. Duke we played 32 games at DeMatha that year. They saw every game, someone on their staff, either Bob Bender, who was a longtime Hawk assistant, Mike Kay, or Chuck Swenson, and he ended up going to Duke, and it certainly worked out to be but as a young coach, you'd have 5, 10, 15 college coaches in at practice, and when Morgan Wooten would say, Mike, why don't you run our shell drill? What an endorsement for like a 25-year-old guy. And so my network was really developed, by way of DeMatha High School. And then when Mike Krzyzewski had an opening, I think he wanted a young guy that was going to be with him a while, not a guy that was trying to get a head job in 2 years. And Bob Bender was the assistant at the time and really kind of took me under his wing, and I was able to be with Mike for 8 seasons, and we went to 6 Final Fours and won it twice, and it was not reality, really, when I look back at it. But it was really neat coaching Quinn and Danny as upperclassmen, and there was no better leader than Quinn Snyder, as you can imagine, as a player. He certainly is just a brilliant basketball mind, but he was the ultimate leader and captain the 2 years I had him, his junior and senior year. And one of the traditions at Duke, and I tell Quinn I'm still trying to find the archives of this. One of the things was the seniors spoke at the banquet. They wouldn't bring a guest speaker in. The seniors spoke. So in 1989, the seniors were Danny Ferry, Quinn Snyder, and a young man by the name of John Smith from Washington, D.C., very good player. Quinn Snyder went for 45 minutes as a 22-year-old senior. There wasn't a dry eye in the house, and it was just so powerful. And you could kind of tell then. I mean, there's a lot of special stuff there. We're not surprised to see what he's done.
Mike, you went on leaving the nest to become a head coach, and the first stop was Delaware, and then of course on to Notre Dame. Just if you don't mind, what I want to say learned, but the experience of coaching at Notre Dame, because the enormity of what goes on in that place. Has anyone been on campus at Notre Dame? Been experienced, so it's as unique an athletic environment as there is in college athletics, and one of the most incredible universities, the business school, everything that goes into it. So kind of sum up, if you would, the Notre Dame experience.
Well, I was so honored. I was there 23 seasons. And of course, now people ask me how long you were there. I said I was there for 6 football coaches. I had 6, and which was really interesting. Of course, they couldn't worry about me too much because they were worried about football. That's not a bad thing either. Rick Barnes told me when I was coaching at Delaware. Rick Barnes was a coach at Clemson. We were in the NCAA tournament in Chicago. He said, Mike, there's something about coaching at a football place. They kind of leave you alone. They kind of, leave you alone. And you look at Rick, Clemson, Texas, Tennessee. Delaware was a football place, 1AA football, the wing T offense, Tubby Raymond, and certainly Notre Dame was. But the power of the place, it still staggers me to this day. I was so honored to be there. And the young people that we had through, I have 78 guys over 23 years that came through and graduated and are out there in the real world. And now I'm going to their weddings in the summer. And And you know this, when you get with your former players, they go, Coach, man, you remember when you said that to me? I was like, oh, I didn't say that, did I? Like, no, you said that to me one day. And I said, did it work? Did it work? And so just an amazing place to be. And you know, it was interesting for me there, too, because when I got there in 2000, we were the Big East, and we were the old Big East. I say the real Big East back in the day. And then all of a sudden in 2013, we flipped to the ACC. And, you know, right on cue in our first year, we finished last. And then Jaron Grant and Pat Connaughton got together, and we won the ACC tournament in 2015. So it was very interesting. It was almost like changing jobs, going from Big East prep for 10, 12 years to ACC prep then. But I did like, and I saw some people raise their hand, they've been to South Bend. The one thing I liked about when we went to the ACC, all of a sudden, teams from Atlanta and Miami and Tallahassee and the Carolinas, they were flying into South Bend, Indiana on a January night. And that plane lands, and that wind is whipping off Lake Michigan, and guys would get off the plane, and the next night, coaches would come out and go, how do you live here? And I go, we got them. We got them.
Tremendous. You mentioned 2015, and just to refresh the memory, that ACC tournament, Notre Dame beat North Carolina for the championship, but in the semifinals, they beat Duke University to get there, and you beat Coach K. How'd that go over?
That was maybe a little bit of a chillier handshake, you know, and we kind of got 5 out of 6 there for a while, but who's counting?
Yeah,
Who's counting? But it was certainly to do it in Greensboro. And you got to remember, like, Notre Dame was an independent. They still are in football, obviously, but Notre Dame was an independent till 1995. Didn't join the Big East till 95. And then you went 15 years in the Big East and you flipped leagues again. So our fans really had no idea what the ACC tournament championship meant, or it's the ACC championship, as we know.
Yes.
Actually, when the bookstore printed shirts up, they printed ACC tournament champions. And I called the bookstore, I said, take tournament off, man. It's just championship in the ACC when you win the tournament. But to do it in Greensboro and to go through those two, you know, schools and the blue bloods of the league was extremely special and a great memory. And I had a neat group of Jaron Grant and Pat Connaughton and Steve Vastoria. And I had an older, we were able to stay old. You know, we didn't have guys leave early. We were able to get into a rhythm of keeping your roster older, juniors and seniors playing. I know that is very difficult in this climate that is college athletics, but that kind of helped us stay pretty competitive annually.
Mike, you have been with us now. This is the 3rd year coming up, reunited with Quinn and Tony Lang and the Duke Brotherhood. What are your impressions of the NBA from somebody who watched it from outside and now you're in the weeds?
You know, many people asked me that my first year, and what was, for me, it was almost professional development X and O wise, digging into the game. The college game is only, and maybe even some of you are experiencing this, the college game was only about 25% the game. It was recruiting and raising money now and being an ambassador for the university, which we all did, and we were paid well to do it, and it was part of it. But my first fall in there was staff meetings. We would be digging into pick and roll defense or, you know, some sets, and I'd say to myself, why didn't we do that? And I look back, and I think we got a little stale at the end of my tenure and didn't freshen up our system. So to dig into the basketball part of it, because the front office handles recruiting, right? And you know, so you are really digging into the game. Now, the flip side of that, and I told some of our young staff, I said, now you can go down some rabbit holes sometimes. And, you know, I got into a thing of, at Notre Dame, I felt I got better at not over-coaching. And I said, I think you have to guard against that in the NBA because you have time and you have video, and you have their full attention from the morning. They're not in class till 3 o'clock. You know, you got them in the morning, and so I'm always trying to find that balance. But for me, and now after 2 years, and you certainly have, you've helped me not only with the history of the Hawks, but the history of the league. You know, you kind of feel you know the league a little bit now, and it's been interesting because most of the players, I saw them when they were 14 and 15 years old on the AAU circuits down in Augusta or over in Birmingham or the Nike stuff, you know. So it's been really been interesting to kind of learn the league now. But the basketball part of it and the depth of it and the gifted young coaches we have that can come out and teach, I've really been so impressed with that.
Wow. We know that you all have questions. So start thinking about what you'd like to ask Coach Brey. And we've got microphones. So raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone to you and ask away. He is a fountain of knowledge, so don't hold back.
No, it's
Coach Brey, how are you?
how you doing?
Good, good. So during your tenure, you know, obviously at Delaware and at Notre Dame, you had to deal with a lot of players. My question is, what did you do strategically to deal with the expectations of family members? Not the players themselves, but family members. And by the way, Coach, John Cooper says hi from Maryland.
Oh, I love it. That's, as we know, families, parents are a big, big part of the equation. And you know, what I found, what happened, especially at Notre Dame, recruiting a young man, many times the parents saw Notre Dame as a great option for their son before the son knew it. So I certainly played that card and worked that parent to help me get it done. But now I've opened up a real comfortable line of communication with dad or mom or whomever in the family. And so then when Johnny's not playing enough as a freshman, here come the phone calls. So what I would do, they'd come to summer school, and they'd be in summer school, and I'd tell my assistant, I said, all right, now you need to wean me off the parents. Like, you've got those four, and have an assistant check in, you know, once every 2 weeks. A lot of times you don't have to check in. They're going to check in with him. But you got to keep them off me. And you try to really draw the line of, I'm here if there's an academic issue, if there's a personal issue, but we're not going to talk basketball and playing time. And you tried to draw that line many times. Most of the time that worked. Other times there was some maintenance involved. And you had to do it, but it was, you know, as we know, you know, you wanted to deal with the young person, you know, and you wanted to, you know, man-to-man kind of handle them and help them. So you cannot ignore it. It's part of the equation. I was always a little paranoid. I think we can all relate in here. I had them from 3 to 5, and when they went back and got on the phone, are they diffused, you know, and with a high school situation, they're going home. And so, you know, just to keep that line of communication open. It was funny, my wife said, I told her early when I got there, I said, don't sit near the parents. You're going to hear some stuff. She said, oh, what do you mean? I said, oh, no. They're nice to you right now. You know, end of the second quarter, if he didn't get in the game, you're going to hear some stuff about your husband. I said, so do not sit near them and just keep a little bit of a buffer. I purposely, you know, I think back to Georgia Tech. We'd play when the parents are there. I would walk through there quick, give them a kind of a thumbs up. No one could stop me, get on the bus. And one parent said to my wife once, said, you know, we'd really like to be friends with Mike, but we can't, right? And she's like, no, you can't be friends. And so you can all relate, like, right? We've got to keep a little bit of that line, but it's the lines of communication somehow have to be open so you can get a heads up if something's being taken off the rails. And whether it's an assistant or however you do it, I think you just, you know, I was always, again, back to my phrase a little bit a while ago, I was paranoid who could disrupt it, and battling for their hearts and minds also meant their parents sometimes.
What else is on your mind? Next question. To your right.
Good
Mike.
seeing you, Coach. Good. Quick question. What's been the toughest transition from collegiately to professionally here with the Hawks?
As I was coming down here with Quinn, I thought to myself, you can outthink yourself and overanalyze, and at the end of the day, and the funny question many times when I was here a couple months, oh, those guys don't want to be coached because they're making money. I said, I totally disagree, and I know, each team is different, but I have found in my 2 years here, these guys want to be coached, and you better be organized when you come at them with a teaching point, because they are watching, listening, probably sometimes overanalyzing, but it was really refreshing, and I don't know how many times I told people, like, absolutely, they want to be coached, they want to be good, how can we get there? And so your same techniques of being available, being a communicator, being a confidence giver, getting to know them. I think one of Quinn's great strengths in this league is because he was a college coach, and his dad was an educator, and he's a chip off the old block as far as a teacher and a connector with people. And so, he certainly knows the game at a level that's amazing, but he's really a connector with young people, and I think that is something that still is important even with these elite, athletes.
And really, you see that at practice, where he is a teacher on the court.
He loves to teach, and I could see him being a college professor in his later years when he gets out. He loves to teach. He loves to analyze. He loves to get out and dig into the game. And yet he's one of those teachers where, he takes input from his really good students sometimes. He's got, no crazy ego where he'll take feedback and feel the vibe. The other thing that makes him really good, he was an assistant a lot of places. And he's so good with his staff. I told him sometimes, I said, you're too worried about the assistants. Let me worry about them, right now. I can help you with that. Because he's so caring, because he was an assistant. When we tease, Mike Krzyzewski was only assistant 1 year. So maybe the empathy wasn't there all the time. But it's the ability to connect the energy level and the ability to keep, 25 balls in the air as he's talking to everything it's been unique to be around him in that setting.
Yeah. Next question.
Good evening, Coach.
How you doing?
As a young, aspiring coach, and I actually wanted to extend this to anybody because you're all experts here. As a young, aspiring coach that would eventually love to do college or WNBA or even NBA, is there a recommended blueprint that you would say, or a program or a website or a video that you would point a coach to for their beginning?
Well, I was lucky, and I talked about my DeMatha experience. I was working at a place, fortunately, with a great coach in Morgan Wooten, but I was also in a place where there are a lot of good players, so there were a lot of coaches coming around. And I have told a lot of young coaches like yourself, a high school setting, but also now the AAU summer, spring, the travel team programs, if you can get involved. And there's many college coaches now on staffs and NBA staffs that really had their experience with the AAU and the travel teams and got around maybe at a young level, coaching a young team, being an assistant, driving the vans, whatever you had to do and to be part of it. But if you can be around players and be around a tradition, a respected program, high school or AAU, I think it really helps you. There's so much video opportunity now. There's so much stuff out on video and people breaking down tape. That seems to be certainly an area. But just being around the game, volunteering. I used to tell coaches, and I don't know if this is the case as much anymore, work 3 or 4 college basketball camps every summer. Get to know the assistants. Get to know the assistants at Notre Dame, the assistants at Auburn, because those are the guys that are getting head jobs. And there's many stories about assistant college coaches who met a guy at camp who came work the South Carolina camp. He gets the Winthrop job and remembers that guy and brings him with. And that happened over and over again. And I still think that's probably a pretty good route, getting around a college camp and meeting. The head coach is never going to have much time. Don't worry, you're not going to get time with him. Don't worry, but get to know the assistants.
Questions?
Good evening, Coach. My question is a development question. For a player, the most important aspect of a player's game is his hands. What is a good program as far as helping the player to strengthen their hands, and also in the process of doing that, because that's the least thing that we work on is strengthening the player's hands. And also, how much time should be spent when it comes to practicing passing? You know, we practice dribbling, shooting, and other things, but we don't really focus on passing to help players how to learn how to pass.
Well, I'm a big believer in all the ball handling drills because Morgan Wooten used to drag me along as his demonstrator when I played for him at clinics. And I'd do those ball handling drills at camps or coaches' clinics, and it certainly helped me. And I think anything you can do with all the ball handling stuff, 2 balls, and all the stuff you see out there, I watch our young staff do it with our guys, especially our younger players. They have great routines. And then there is something, you make a great point about passing and being able to do some stuff with the pass. So the dribbling, the ball handling, the passing. I used to ask kids at the last day of camp, at my camp at Notre Dame, raise your hand if your mom yelled at you for dribbling in the house. And, you know, half the kids, I go, awesome. And then the parents would be up there, what are you talking about, Coach? They broke my china. I say, no. I mean, if you're a player, you've got that ball in your hand all the time. All the time. I mean, what are you doing with it? And I mean, you're sleeping with it, or you're spinning it at night, or you're handling that thing. You've got to have that thing in your hand. Ball's got to be your friend. And just having it in your hands and doing stuff with it is and I always would tell kids, there got to be, well, Coach, you know, a strength program for my 13-year-old. No. Don't worry about that. Put that ball in his hands. Make sure he's out on that playground. He's in that gym. He's handling, so that thing is natural in his hands. And I think that's just so important. I used to love, you know, when we would evaluate prospects. And, we love guys that knew how to play, how to feel for the game. I always, if a guy could pass and kind of see the floor and have that vision, you knew, he's going to be easy to play with. He's going to be easy to play with. He sees stuff and he's good with it, and he understands how to swing it and all those things. But the ball in your hand and your ball skills are so important, even for NBA players.
Time for one more. And we'll get our coaches out here and let the demonstrations begin.
Yep.
Good afternoon. My name is Bo Bell. Having an opportunity to play professional basketball in Europe for 13 years, I've seen the influx of European players coming into the league. And the thing that I notice about them, all of them are fundamentally sound, starting with their feet. And so what I want to know is, and what you can say to the other coaches here that will be helpful, how important it is to focus on the basic principles of the game, starting with the feet, so they give them a legitimate opportunity to maximize. We're more talented, we're more skilled, but they got academies over there throughout Europe. And so I've been waving the flag since I came back that it was going to be an influx because of how they play the game. So my question to you is, how do we as coaches develop our young people, right, staying focused? Because we're more talented, we're more skilled, we're more athletic, but the game is still played on the ground. So how important is footwork? That's what I ask you, on that level. And then what do you guys do in terms of that?
And me being now in the NBA, where we have European players, and you ask Zach Richeche, what did you do when you were 14? Well, they were in the laboratory getting reps, catching, passing, dribbling, pivoting. And you talk to the foreign coaches and even our American coaches who've been over there, they have such a laboratory of skill work and skill stuff where they're doing it over and over. And it's back to his question a little bit. I don't think you can ever spend enough time on catching and pivoting and handling the basketball. And if you were to come and watch some of the workouts here this morning at 9:30, you would have thought it was the 12-year-olds at basketball camp. And they're catching and pivoting and facing and all the basic stuff. And that's where, the European probably got a little bit of head start on us. They've moved ahead, right? We've probably gotten into maybe playing and not doing as much footwork and skill work. It's funny, though, as you watch it, and as I watch our game, there's a lot of workout. You can only cross over and beat so many orange cones. Eventually you got to beat a dude, right? You got to beat a guy. You got to beat, and so playing the game and finding pickup. Many of us grew up playing pickup a little bit. Maybe that's been lost. Even our guys, we said for some of them, they've been great. They're in here. They're 2 hours skill stuff. Like I said, he's got to play now. He hasn't seen a 3-on-2, 4-on-2 decision in 4 months. He's got to see that. And so that's, I think, an element too. But you look, when Zach Richeche, here's an interesting, Zach Richeche came in, and who's the rookie at Detroit who was picked maybe right after around 5th? Ronald, anyways, he was a rookie this year at Detroit. Zach was our rookie. Zach came in the day after him. Ron Holland, right? Ronald is a product of our system, and a lot of the footwork stuff our guys did. It was a little rough. It was a little rough. You could tell he didn't really have the reps. I think he was an overtime elite guy, or not overtime elite, but the one in Vegas. But and then Richeche came the next day. You thought it was a ballet dancer. It was all the stuff, and I was telling 2 of our young assistants, I go, there it is. The American system, and it was really kind of glaring, that. So anytime you can get that ball in your hands and pivot and move and, having great feet is a skill. You see a guy catch and face. A lot of our stuff right now and this summer has been feet, footwork, how to catch on the move and, how to Euro step and how to pivot through and all of those things. So I think it's really important, and being a gym rat, right, is part of it, man. You gotta, you're in the morning, you're coming back at night, and you're looking for the pickup. Where's the pickup game? Where are they playing tonight? They're playing down at the rec center. I'm going there, and that's how you become a player.
I love it. This is awesome. Hope you enjoyed that. Give it up for Mike Brey.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Well done.
Can I get 4 defenders on for me, please? Just guarding our coaches here. 2 right here. So this is our cycle. So for example, we got Hugh right here. Hugh, can you just drive baseline for me right here? Coach, can you let him go by you? Thank you. Right here. This defender for us is called our free safety. Some people, it might be the last man. Some people, it might be your low man. For us, it's our free safety. His responsibility right now, in our terminology, is fire, sink, and fill. So right now, what his job as he's driving, he's firing over. He wants to meet him right here outside the paint. Now this defender's job started up here, right? As our free safety's firing over, this is our cornerback. Our cornerback's responsibility right now is to sink down here along the baseline and prevent this pass from going to the corner. Now we have our fill person. So our free safety went ahead and fired. Our cornerback sinks. Now we have our fill person. Our fill guy right here, he's kind of playing too. If this person happens to cut, he might have to be the one that takes, and if it gets passed out here, go back to your own. So now let's just go through the actually last one, sorry, is close. So from there, close is our last absolute. I know it's on many levels, not just the NBA, but within close, the first thing we want to do is make sure we close out. It's hard to teach some people to close out, so it's an absolute for us. We want to make sure we have that on every possession. So we want to close out. From there, we want to get hits, and then we close the possession with the rebound. We clear? Good, everybody? Great. So you guys all have your ball? Cool. I need you two right here, just touching fingertips. Same with you guys down here, touching fingertips. In our Absolute Shell series, it's pretty basic to start out. Like I said, it's a foundation, it's the fundamentals, so that's what we're gonna work on right here. On my clap, you guys are gonna close out to a contain. You guys are gonna trace the ball, you're mirroring the ball for 2 counts. Then I'm gonna have 4 more of you guys. You're gonna come onto the court. On my clap again, you guys are gonna go, and then we'll reset, and I'll get you guys into the next drill. Good? Great. 1, 2, great. Next group, I need 4 on, 4 on. Here we go. Here we go, 4 on. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. Here we go. We're touching here. Fingertips, fingertips we're touching. Ready? Close out, I'm chasing. 1, 2, great. Now, we have the next part. You guys can stay on. Next group will come on after you. So now, it comes into our rounded drives. So we're closing out here. As he's driving, I'm gonna have the coaches have the freedom to drive either direction that they want. But let's say he's driving here. We wanna chest him, like I said. We're defending without fouling, arms are out. You're gonna take back 2 dribbles. Now we're going to the other direction. Sliding here. We clear? Great. So we're in here touching. Either direction. Great. Next group, next group. Here we go, here we go. We're in here, we're touching. Ready? Perfect, perfect. Good job, good job, good job. Here we go. You guys are gonna stay on, you guys are gonna stay on. Yep, here we go. So now, we're in our flyby series within our Absolute Shells. So we started out with just a regular closeout. We're tracing and mirroring the ball. Now we rounded the drives. Now we're in our flybys. So right here, sorry, I'll take this spot real quick. As we're closing out, if we're right here, you got to think about it. Most people want to catch the ball and drive middle. So within this drill, we just want to make sure that as we're closing out to this top side. So right here, as you guys are closing out, right hand to the ball, take a dribble. Now we're coming back with the left hand. It's a multiple effort drill and just something to get you guys thinking a little bit that we want to make sure that we're getting out of the paint. Same thing over here. You guys are closing out, flying by, left hand. Take a dribble for me. Now you guys are flying by with the right hand. Great. Here we go. There we go. Next group, next group. Here we go, here we go. We're here touching, we're here touching. Yep. Here we go, here we go. We got to do it again, we got to do it again. We're flying out with our left hand here, coming back with the right. Here we go. Yep. Here we go, here we go. Good job, good job. Now our last one within this series that we're gonna do today. Biggs, I need you guys up here. PK, can you go here? Jalen, you can let go of your ball. He's gonna have the ball. So now you come out here a little bit. You guys are actually guarding. You're in your shift here. You're up here guarding, and you're on your shift. These are 2 separate sides. You guys are mirroring the same thing over here. So PK, he's gonna pass the ball. Now you're jumping into your shift. Now he's gonna swing it back. You jumping into your shift here. Now we're going into a DHO. So go ahead, PK. You guys are staying with, so stay with him. Okay. Yep, we're going outside. Yep, here we go. Now you're pulling back. Now you're finally filling up with the step up. And that's the end of the drill right there. Cool? You're staying with on everything. You guys got this on this side? Yep, staying with our own. Here we go, PK. Yep. Talk. Yep. DHO. There we go. Good talk. Step up. And we're back. Great group. Next guy's up, next up. You guys understand? What we following? Great, here we go. Swing, we're jumping to our shifts. Coming back, DHO. There we go. Get a stop here. Step up, and the play is dead. Let's get a round of applause for our volunteers. That's the end of our Absolute Shell series. I want to open it up to any questions for you guys. We got a few minutes here, so thank you guys for also your help as well. And we'll go ahead and get some questions. Back there. Yep. On the flybys? So on the flybys, like I said, mentality of a lot of players is you want to drive middle. You want to catch the ball on a closeout and you want to rip it and go middle. So for this drill specifically, we want to try to close out and get the right hand to the ball. That's where the shooter's going to be. He's not going to be able to drive down to the middle. And then our cycle is built in off of that. So if he were to drive baseline, now we got our cycle that comes over, our free safety pulls over, cornerback sinks, and we got the fill. On the inside, exactly.
I'm a footwork guy.
Yep.
How important is the feet on the closeout? You
Oh, that's huge. Like I said, we don't want to. We're closing out to contain. We're not trying to close out and give them baseline. We're not trying to close out and give middle. We're closing out to contain. We want to guard our guy. That's essentially what the essence of this is. We want to close out and guard our guy. So your feet are important, like you mentioned. And like I said, the thing is that we are a no-paint team. So if you're closing out this way, giving up the paint, same thing this way. So we just want to make sure we keep it to our principles, which is a no-paint team. Anybody else? So, like I said, it's up to you. It's a no purgatory though. You're either crashing or you're getting back. A lot of teams, you might see some teams sending 5 to the glass, 3. For us, right now, it's just we're no purgatory. We don't want you to be in the middle man. We don't want you to be in between. We want you to either crash or we want you to get back. Yep.
Are there certain spots that you don't allow to crash? Like you allow any one of the 5?
Yeah, anybody crashes, but you got to think about it too. Let's say I'm going up for a layup, and I'm out here on the high quads. I'm probably not going to crash because the chances of me going and getting that rebound probably pretty slim. So we want to crash mainly on jumpers. Okay.
My question is, so when they're doing that DHO right here,
Yep.
how is the man supposed to stick with their man, like off the DHO? Okay, I know that's a big part of what you're doing. You don't want to switch at all. So how do they stick to their man?
Yeah, so that's a big thing. For us, physicality is a big thing for us. So as the ball is coming down, we want to make sure we're getting attached. We're being physical. The NBA is trying to let more physicality go by, so that's an emphasis for us too, is making sure we're physical. Sometimes it might be holding on a little bit. Now we're getting over the top. Now you also want to make sure we're in our no middle again, because if you just stay on that outside, they're going to be able to get downhill. Yep. Yep. Yeah, because as he's firing over, there's nowhere else for that guy to drive. So for me to go all the way back into the middle just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So you would want to stop right there and sink. And the first pass, if I'm driving baseline, I'm looking corner. That's my first read. I'm looking straight to the corner. So that's why we want to sink to the baseline, cut that off, prevent him from getting that pass to the corner. Go ahead.
Quick question. On the shoulder, the chest?
Yep.
Chest to shoulder, how are you ensuring that you don't get called blocking foul?
Well, it's the same situation on offense. You can get called for an offensive foul if you're hitting me in the chest, right? If I go and slide and I have my arms and I have an arm bar, that's another situation they might call a foul on me. We want to ensure that our players have the proper tools, and we feel like that is the proper tool, is to have a slide and chest, because then where am I fouling essentially? If I'm cutting him off and my angle isn't right, then okay, that's a foul. But most of the time, if you cut him off, you present yourself right. If they run into you, that might be a charge versus me getting a blocking foul.
To piggyback off of that,
Yep.
how close do you have your defenders on the attacking player? Like, are they chest always on them? And then, especially when they're behind the three-point line and they're setting up their offense, how aggressive do you have to be playing up on them?
Yeah, so the second question, that's all scouting specific. We're not gonna just guard everybody out here. If Steph Curry's out here, we're probably chasing him around everywhere. So it's all scouting specific. And then to answer your first question, we wanna always make sure that when we're getting the chest, that's to cut off the drive. That's not, we're just guarding him straight up with our chest on the defender right away. We always wanna make sure we have the proper spacing, popping our feet back, and then we're athletic. We're able to be low, able to slide either direction.
What type of team communication concept do y'all teach? I see, you got to know where you need to be depending on what
Yo.
How do y'all teach communicating as a team?
Yeah, and that's why you're talking about, oh, I'm firing over, I'm sinking, I'm fill. And when you hear those commands, and after we've done this so many times, the guys kind of understand, if we see a drive from this angle, we're going to be able to get into these types of rotations. So I think that's the easiest way to answer that. Good? Thank you, guys.
Give it up for Ashton Smith.
What's up, y'all? Thanks for coming. So I'm going to take you guys through some pick-and-roll reads, some player development stuff that I like to do, some progressions, and some things we could do together as a team just to work on reads. I think pick-and-roll is a high-frequency action. You see even younger and younger teams are starting to play pick-and-roll, but I think it's important that you really work on it. It's not good enough just to throw kids out there, say play pick-and-roll, and then get mad at them when they're not able to execute what you want to execute. I think it's important to take time throughout your practices, throughout your season, to really break it down and work on it. All right, so we'll work out in the middle. Malik, you can guard me. Let's say Hugh was the setter, right? So I like to do before practice, we can split the guards and the bigs up, all right? And I like to work on scoring reads. So we'll have the guards first, the bigs can be on the other end, or they could be shooting, and we'll work on pick and roll down here, and then the bigs will come on after, right? So first things first, you could do this with the live dribble, right? So you're playing off a pivot, you can work on pivoting, or you can work on pick and roll like you have in a dribble, and now we're playing, right? So first things first is the angle, right? We want to make sure we're getting a good angle. We'll talk about the bigs later and how they're setting their angle, but how is the guard creating an angle where he can come off tight shoulder to shoulder and be able to create an advantage, right? First things first for me is I'm always going to try and test the reject, right? The pick and roll is coming this way. I'm always going to try and get back this way away from the screen because there's no coverage for a reject, right? If I can reject him, their whole coverage is done. They're blown up. They're in a scramble, right? And then also being physical with the ball. We talk about physicality on defense, but I think it's important that when you have the ball, you're comfortable being physical and your handle's not loose, your handle's tight when you're getting bumped. So if I see the screen coming, I'm going to try and reject, right? He's going to cut me off. I have a bump, but now I created an angle so I can come shoulder to shoulder. And for good measure, I like to, as I'm coming off here, boom, give him one more bump so I can get him to that screen, and now I'm coming off, right? We'll go through it with a little bit of speed here. Right, so I'm here, boom. And now I'm making sure that I'm able to get shoulder to shoulder, right? Now we'll talk about the reads. Second thing is now I get him at the angle I need him to, I'm coming off shoulder to shoulder. Big is at the level, right? So I try and reject, come off, good measure. Here, now he's here. I like to encourage our guards to be aggressive. If he's up and you think you can get around him, that'll be the best offense for us, right? So he's up. The key to this is you got to get wide and you got to get around him, right? So we'll work on that, work on the setup, work it big at the level. We can have, J-Mo, you can get down with the stick. Once he gets around him, we'll just work on finishes like that, right? So it's reject, bump him, I'm getting it around, I'm getting to a finish. And we'll do that. We'll have a line up top, and guards will just go, they'll go after one after the next, and we'll just work on that specifically, right? Second one is, now let's say he's in a drop, right? So he's up at the level, and then he's backpedaling. What can we do? What are the solutions? What are our scoring reads for that, right? We can do it with off the jab. So I'm here, I'm jabbing, I try and reject, boom. One more for good measure, and now we're here. So key to this is to widen out now. As we're coming downhill, we're trying to create width. We're gonna ask the bigs to roll wide. We're gonna ask the guards to come out here and roll wide so we can create this passing lane, right? The key also is making your decision at the free throw line. You see a lot of guards, they're coming off screens, right? And they're just coming full speed, not changing pace at all. That gives the big a good chance to time you up, right? You're not changing pace, you're not changing speeds. It's easy to time up. So I like the free throw line as a good marker, is where you should like change up, downshift, I like to call it, change your speeds, allow the reads to open up. So I'm here, I widen out, I get to the free throw line, now I can read. Is he giving me this lane here? Boom, I can attack. If he's a little bit further over, can I give him a little move to move him and catch an angle, right? Or do his hips open up? When I attack, do his hips open up? Can I get into his body and now finish, right? And you just let them go through that, let them make mistakes, let them figure it out, let them make the reads, the scoring reads, right? Third one is, so I'll do those two, and then we'll go, now he's in a deep drop, right? The setup stays the same always, right? I'm trying to get here, don't have anything, one for good measure, now I'm coming downhill. Now you gotta, a lot of analytics say this mid-range is a bad shot. For me, I think if you have a point guard that's handling pick and roll a lot, this is a shot that he has to take a few times a game just to keep the defense honest, right? They're in a deep drop. We have floaters, right? We have skill finish, goofy foot finishes to throw them off, but this is where like you gotta be, it's up to you. In your coaching structure, in your team, in your scheme, do you like this? A lot of people don't. I think it's good for a point guard, not everybody, but somebody who's in pick and roll a lot, shoot that once or twice just to keep the defense honest, right? And now we're playing here. And now they just let them figure it out. What works for them? Is it floaters? Is it mid-ranges? Is it trying to get back here and finish? And you just kind of let them, you can give them specific finishes that you want, but most of the time I like guys to just figure it out, right? And as they're making mistakes, there's things that you see, you can correct them, you can clean it up for them, right? But I think like playing and just getting a chance to feel it for themselves, it goes a long way, right? So you guys can come up here. Let's get 5 guys out here, and we'll just go through that real quick. This is a line right here, line right here, line right here, right? I'll guard, you guys just set. So these could be coaches, you just have the guards up here, and one coach can guard. You guys have the ball, all guard, right? No, you guys are one right behind the next. J-Mo, you got balls? Give them the balls up here. Right, so we're just going one after the next. Test the reject, boom, nothing, come back, hit me one time, get to a finish. You get to your finish, boom, next one goes up, boom. My fault. No, my fault. Yeah. But, right, boom, hit, boom, one more. Yeah, there you go. And you attack, get to your finish. So we'll just get to finishes, right? Next person, right? Let's say he's in a drop. Boom, hit. Yeah, don't forget the hit. What are your reads? What are your finishes, right? And we'll just go through that. Now, that's good. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, good. Now, we can have the bigs. So let's say PK and Hugh start down there. Malik can guard me. Now we're working on big finishes. So hold on. Key, separation. How do we create separation, right? Physicality, right? You're down here. You know you're running up to set a screen. Be physical, push him, right? Push him off. Try and get this space, right? Second thing is now, let's say he's on you, right? The thing that we want is the angle to send the guard downhill. A lot of times you see guys running up, they're setting screens on the side. Where are you sending the ball handler if your feet are like this? You're sending them to the sideline, right? So you got to get underneath him. I'm guarding, Hugh can get underneath, right? So now his feet are sending him downhill. Back up top. Winning the battle, right? Let's say you don't get separation, PK's on him. Most defenses, they're gonna try and teach the big to push him up as high as he can to allow the guard to get under. You gotta be physical enough, get into a stance, get into your legs that he's not allowed to push you up and you can still get to this angle, all right? So now we're here. First one, big is up at the level, early pocket pass, right? Come off, pocket pass, low man pulls over. And now we're working on finishes here, right? Most important guy, our free safety's in, and now we'll have a coach, a bigger coach, or you can have, if you have one of these sticks, you're here, and now you're working on finishes, right? We can start with deep rolls, get to the cup, right? Be physical, hit, finish, right? Early pocket. Then the second one, same thing. This will be a coach. He's up, and then he's gonna drop, hit him late, boom. Let's say big recovers on this one, right? Big recovers, what are your finishes? Being physical with the ball, being in a tight space, being comfortable putting the ball on the floor, being physical and finishing, right? And then it could be a run roll. Let's say, can you catch a lob? Let's say he starts down and he creates separation. We know the team wants to switch, or they're at the level, they're trying to blitz. He comes off, instead of sending, he just run rolls and he throws out. That's a good way that you can get lob. If you have a lob threat, you teach him the run roll. Instead of always coming up and getting a crack, he just turns, pivots out, creates the width, and we can get a lob. So we just go through that progression. So now the guards have a chance to work on scoring and pick and roll. The bigs have a chance to score on pick and roll, and then we'll bring them all together, right? So then we just do reads. So you guys can be in a line down here. You guys can be up here. Let's get PK. You guys can just go here, and then we'll just go on the line and we'll just work on reads. So now Malik, you're up here. You're guarding. Let's say you're guarding. Right. So now we're 2-on-2 reads. Pick and roll. Good. Good. Freeze it. Freeze it. Freeze it. Freeze it back when you get there. Now the read is, where is the big? Right. As I'm coming off here, Hugh sets. Where is the big? If the big is up, more often than not, this is a quick pocket pass, right? We just worked on that. He's gonna have to finish, right? If he's in a drop, I want you to keep coming, put pressure on the rim, and now you have a late pass to a pocket, or you have a finish. And then if he's in a drop, the same thing. So you're just going through a progression now. Everybody worked on their scoring, now we want the bigs to really work on their passing, and the guards to work on their passing. Third one is early pocket, low man pulls in, boom, now the big has this read here, right? So you add a third guy. So now you're not only reading the guards, now you're reading the low man. So you add a third guy. So I'm in the corner now, yeah. Yeah, just, you make a read, whatever read you want. Boom, he's in, boom, shot, next three go, right? Next three. Boom, here, boom, right? Stay out, J-Mo. Next one. He wasn't pulled in, right? So now here's the other read. Now we add in the read to the corner skip, right? So if you come off of the screen here, let it, run it, freeze it, freeze it, freeze it, freeze it. You hold it, right? Now you're reading him. Low man is pulled in. More than likely, what do you have, right? This skip pass, right? If he's not pulled in, you look for the pocket, right? If the big is backing up and he's not a good angle, you go score. So now we're just playing at this point, right? Now we can add a fourth guy. You can go up right here, right? And you guard, or you go in the corner right here, and I'll guard. Right, so now, start over from the top. Test the reject. Boom, freeze it. Low man is pulled in, you hit the pocket, boom. I drop to take this away, we have the pass. And it's not a script, but you can be deliberate as a defender, right? If I'm the low man, I really want him to work on making this extra pass to the corner. I know this is my big that's coming up, he struggles with that. If he hits the pocket, I'm gonna be in early, so he has to make that pass, right? He struggles with finishing, right? He struggles with making decisions. Hits the pocket, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna try and mess with him a little bit to make him feel confident, make him understand he has to go finish, right? Again, here, right? And the X-out guy, you can make it deliberate. He's pulled in, let's say the guard has it, right? Guard has it, he's coming off, low man is pulled in. I might drop here to force him to make this pass to the wing. Or I might cheat up this way, look at him to make sure that he makes this pass to the corner. So now it's on the coaches or whoever is guarding in the drill to kind of make the reads deliberate for whatever specificities that these guys need, right? Especially if, let's say, our guards don't like to go left, we flip it. Flip the drill, flip that side of the court. Now we have them coming off with their left hand. Can they make the reads with their left hand? Corner skip, pocket pass, back to the wing, and now we just build it like that. I think that the reads especially, I think we expect guys to be able to just make a pocket pass because we see it on TV, but it's not something that's just easy to do. Like, you have to actually work on it. Like, the vision of making the read and then actually the execution, the skill of actually completing that pass is not something that just happens overnight, right? We got to continue to build and continue to teach and continue to be patient with guards especially, and bigs too, but especially guards. High-frequency pick and rolls, it's not just a gimme that they're going to be able to do it, right? So I think going forward, you can see the rise of pick and roll happening throughout youth ages, right? Kids are young playing pick and roll. I don't think we've really seen that in the past. But I think it's important as the game grows, like we also have to start, our coaching has to grow, right? And our teaching has to grow, and we got to be deliberate in like teaching them these things, right? And that's all I got for you. Yeah. Any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Got a question here. 1 second, Coach.
How you doing, Coach?
What's up, man?
I got a question.
Yeah.
So I played ball like you as well, and coaching college. Do you always believe in? Is your philosophy always off of 2 feet? I just feel as guards, though, as point guards, like you said, that shot right there, the midi, because of analytics, we don't use it. But I always try to tell point guards, definitely, you should be able to shoot off 1 foot as well. Having a 1 foot float as well, not just coming off 2 all the time. But is your philosophy at 2 feet all the time?
I'm a 2 feet guy, but I feel like there's scenarios where you have to be able to finish off one, especially for small guards, right? It's tough. Like there's a small guard pack. You watch T.Y., he shoots a lot of floaters. A lot of guys, Dyson shoots a lot of floaters. Keenan Wallace shoots a lot of floaters. But again, it's like you have to work on it. It's not a shot just because you feel like it's a close range shot that you should be able to make that every time. There's touch, there's timing that needs to be worked on. I think working, especially at a young age, working on all finishes is important, not just 2 foot finishes. But I think it's safer to play off 2 because you have your balance, you can pivot, and now it's easier to make plays. Sometimes you get off 1 foot, you get stuck in the air. It's hard to make a play after that. You have one play at the rim. But I think there's a way that you could teach everything and work on everything at a young age and just figure out what guys are good at. Some guys are not good at it. Let's take it out that package, right? If they are good at it, let's nurture it. Let's work on it. Let's see how good we can get at it. Yeah.
I'm a feet work guy. So just to piggyback on what Coach was saying, right? You call it goofy feet.
Yeah.
We call it offbeat, right?
Yeah.
So being able to come off the right foot with the right hand, offbeat, it kills the time of the defender.
Yes.
So how important is that? And then the other question I want with the screen and roll, how important it is to change the speed, right, and the angles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the angles and the change of speed is like, that's one of my big things is pace. I'm always talking about pace. It's hard to make reads when you're going full speed, especially in pick and roll. You're coming off full speed, you're getting through that free throw line, and now it's hard to read if the low man's pulled in. It's hard to really gauge where the big is at. I think slowing down, talk about hip holds as well, keeping them on your hip and allowing the defense to react, and now you can make your reads off of that. We talked about old adage, take what the defense gives you, right? I think slowing down at that free throw line is a good gauge where stuff starts to open up. Guys are gonna have to react, and now you have finishes, you got passes, so even in the pick and roll and the setup, right? The pace, change the pace, come back again, hit them one more time. That just keeps defenders off balance, and you become unpredictable. And I think if you're unpredictable, you're hardest to guard. Anybody else?
Hey, Ashton.
How you doing?
We appreciate the work.
Thanks, man.
Just how important, and this is regarding coaching young players, just how important, piggybacking off what you said, regarding pace and eye contact when looking at the roller and moving help. Just how important.
It's really important. I mean, do you guys know who Will Blaylock is? Anybody know who Will Blaylock is? Went to Iowa State. My rookie year, I was playing with him, and I could not make a pocket pass. Like, no matter what, I couldn't. Every time I made a pocket pass, it got tipped. I wasn't able to complete it. And he told me, he's like, use your eyes. That was the biggest thing. He's like, if you're trying to hit the pocket, look to the high quad, look to the corner. Don't stare at where you're trying to pass, right? If you're trying to go to the corner, look at the roll, and you should still be able to make that pass. You take a snapshot as you're coming off, so you see where the defenders are, but never look at directly where you're passing. And once I started doing that, looking off the roller, I was able to complete pocket passes at like a way more successful rate. So it's a good point. Like, using your eyes is huge, especially as a ball handler. But that goes to like having a tight handle, being confident in your handle. Somebody's on you, being physical. Can you still keep your handle and still be able to survey the floor, right? So working on your ball handling goes into that as well, just to be confident, right? To look off the rollers, look off the skip passes, and make the play. That's a good question. Good?
All right, y'all, let's give it up for Ashton. Thanks, Coach.
We'll talk about double drags. What a lot of people refer to as double drags, we refer to it as 99, okay? But like every unique play call, it has a story behind it, but for right now, we'll refer to it as double drags. So first things first, double drags is a very unique way of honestly getting middle and conquering middle, okay? So first things first, I need my ball handler to be on high on the side. First screener, a little bit up here. Second screener, I want you to straddle this 4-point line. Straddle this 3-point line right here and be at the midline, okay? So again, with double drags, the unique thing about double drags is that we can change these variables and create different actions and different plays. By variables, I mean personnel, spacing, location, angles, and coverage, okay? So for right now, we'll do a normal double drag where they're trying to stay with their own, okay? So when that happens is the point of emphasis on the ball handler is we want it to be high, and stay to the side. Reason that being is that we want a great angle, a downhill angle, so we can put force onto the rim. Now we'll talk about our screeners. Ash did a great job of mentioning certain screenings. We'll talk about two specific screening. We have screen to ball and we have ball to screen, right? With screen to ball, this is a great opportunity to get a crack, right? Also with screen to ball, because he's hounding the ball, it's very difficult to run roll out of position. We want to get this crack because we want to force him to go over or possibly get a late switch. So now, with screen to ball, we're able to manipulate the angle. Just stay put for a second. We can be here, we can flip here, and create different angles with screen to ball, okay? So for right now, for this purpose, he's gonna be here. Another teaching point for screen to ball is we wanna aim for his blind spot, right? We wanna aim for his rear side, okay, his blind spot. Reason being, we wanna get a crack where now he can't switch under and to force him to go over the screen, and now he's in a tough position. So now you have to decide where he's gonna switch late. If he's staying with his own, does he do an emergency switch? And if he does an emergency switch, he'll probably be late, okay? Now we'll talk about our second screener. Ask, can you walk with me, please? Now this is more of a ball to screen area. Now with ball to screen, this is a great opportunity for us to run roll, okay? With ball to screen, we can change the location of this screen. As it's happening, and let's just say he routes under, Ash is going, I can manipulate my location and still be able to run roll out of there, right? To put pressure on this rim, okay? Our off ball, like we said, we have two for this. We have two in the corners. Can I get red? Can I get two people? Okay, someone guarding him, please? Also there, thank you. We can manipulate our off ball too to create different plays and different actions. So this first one is gonna be a simple double drag. The players are trying to stay with their own. So we need a good crack. Our big, again, is trying to straddle the midline. And now that gives the opportunity to run roll and put pressure on that rim, okay? Let's get it. Good. That is very good versus staying with their own. Now, what a lot of teams like to do is they'll try to channel and keep it to the side. So with that being said, they will try to aggressive block the first one, and PK will call channel and try to channel to the side. How we would defeat this is we would still get our crack.
Black, black.
Black, black, black. And now our 5-man will flip it. Again, he's in channel, he's trying to force him to the side. After he flips it, we still want to conquer middle. Because again, 99 is a great way we can conquer middle. So now we're going to cut back. And this is another great way to teach our guards cut back technique. Can you please bring it back, please? I want you to look out how Coach Ash is grabbing his leg, so he symbolizes that he's cutting back, and now Hugh is rolling. And now we have a 2-on-1 scenario, okay? Now we're going to double drag, give and go. So again, we want to get middle, but now they want to blitz with the 5, right? Flip it, guys. So now double drag, give and go. So this is a great way to counter the blitz versus the 5-man, right? They're super aggressive. We still want to get a hit here. Boom. Now we're darting into our 5-man. We're zooming off. Hand off. And now we're still rolling. We're still run rolling. This handoff is still a ball to screen area. I'm sorry, a ball to screen. So they're aggressive. We're creating separation. Hand off, popping our feet, and we're out of here, okay? Every time, let's go through that full motion. Good job. So again, just tweaking these variables out and give you guys different looks to have different actions. So a lot of times, they like to be very aggressive on the guards. So let's clear you into this dunker side, please. I'm sorry, read spot, right here. And now we have a small as our free safety. James, I want you to start in the corner for me. BK, you still start here. So a lot of teams, they like to switch aggressively. I'll be you for a second, J-Mo. So a lot of teams would like to steer. So now as he's guarding the ball, as he's still keeping it high, I want to aim for his blind spot, right? And we want to flip this screen at the last second because they want to be aggressive. So a lot of teams, they want to be aggressive. They might switch out here. Last second, I'm flipping. Boom, same thing. I want to get a mean crack. He's going off. And again, run roll. Now, as my 5-man, once he chases, again, this is a great teaching point. The objective is for him to chase. Once he chases, I don't need to see contact anymore. Once he chases, same thing, I'm out of there immediately. I'm popping feet and I'm out of there, and now I'm putting pressure on this 5-man to decide, does he guard T.Y. or does he guard Porzingis, okay? So let's run through that full motion, please. And again, the key thing is here, for this guard here, is to own this lane. He wants to go through that blind spot until that last second and flip, right? As to not give this guy an equal opportunity to black or switch aggressively, okay? Let's go through that. Clean corner flip. Good. Boom. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Also, this is a great way if you have, we have a lot of big guards that are able to finish, such as Zachary Ricochet, Dyson Daniels, Vít Krejci. Another adjustment is that we can have our guard, and we have Porzingis right there to pop. We can have our guard set that screen and roll to see what that free safety does. So let's go through that. Exactly. Now he rolls, he helps out, and now we have eyes out in that corner, okay? So again, just to tweak these variables and give you guys different looks, now we have something for our shooter. Switch side. J-Mo, you right there. Kendall, what you over here? No, J-Mo, you right here, please. Thank you. Guard him. You guard him, please. Yes, yes, thank you. Sorry. Yes. No, Kim, sorry, you're in the court, yes. You in that corner, please. Thank you. So now I'll give you guys a different look. We have a shooter that we want to involve into this action also too. So as this is going on, he sets a screen. We call this double drag pickaxe, okay? Forgive me. So as he set this screen, Kendall at the same time is gonna empty out underneath the goal. Sorry from the beginning. Can you start from the half court? Yes. So as he's bringing the ball up, Kendall is now clearing out that corner, is going underneath the rim. 4-man will roll. Shooter will now set this back screen. Guard comes off. Now we'll have a screen-to-screener action right here. Shot. Let's go through that full motion one time. Good. Yes. And again, changing these variables, right? Personnel, location, angles, spacing, and most importantly, coverage will give us these different looks, okay? So be creative. Let's do it one more time now. We can add another layer to this. And at the end, let's touch back with the 1. And let's now set that hammer screen. Let's set that jackhammer screen at that backside, okay, J-Mo? Just to occupy the free state. Let's walk through it one time. Good, touch back. Now we have a back screen to occupy that free safety. Let's run that back again. 5, let's use that screen right here. Touch action, use that screen, and now you roll, okay? Let's go. Let's walk through it. Good. Clean it up, and now we're occupying that backside. And we have a shot over there. Ooh, good shot. So again, double drags can be utilized in a variety of ways, right? But we would like to utilize it to conquer middle, okay? But with those variables that change, with those variables that we change, we can manipulate the actions. Again, personnel, location, spacing, angles, and coverage. Questions? Thank you. As far as us defensively, it depends. This is personnel. Sometimes we might want to get the ball out of certain people's hand, and that's really just personnel. Sometimes it's game plan, but a lot of times we just usually like to stay with our own. Yes, exactly. So for example, can we have, never mind, it's okay. For example, that double drag give and go, sometimes if the big is aggressive, we'll have him as the first screener, and we can put what we like to call a duck, right? Somebody who doesn't want to play defense, who wants to stay with their own matchup. That guard can be the second screener, and now you can set that screen and roll. And that big can still drop, okay? You said what? Yes, we have guard, bigs, big guards. We still have our double bigs too, but we like to switch it up to personnel. Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes. Yes, we track all our offensive all our offensive plays. We do track their success rate. Yes, we do. And double drags has been very good for us. Any other questions? Yes.
Yo, all right. So I teach my bigs pick and roll as well. So do we not value the opening up after the screen? Do you not value opening up to the ball no more, or is it?
We do, but I think that's certain scenarios, right? When it's screen to ball, we can get a crack, we can open up, right? But on that ball to screen, there's no need because a lot of times that guard is chasing. So instead, we can just pop our feet and now put pressure on that rim.
Because I was thinking, once you screen him, boom, and now he's stuck behind you. Yeah. So now that roll is a little easier. So that's how I've been teaching them.
Yeah.
So, but you like basically just if they already just chasing, just go ahead and turn.
Exactly. Go ahead and just run out there. And now that big that's in that drop or that free safety that decide, do I help up early? Do I stop the ball? Which one is your principle? Is ball priority or is it paint priority? Yes. It's very important. I'm a firm believer. When I was playing in the G League, my coach, Billy Peterson, was very big on footwork, right? As bigs, the faster we can get on the floor and pop our feet, the faster we can get out of there, right? So even if we do want to get a crack, we still want to pop our feet, and now we have that solid base. So we can get a crack, and now we're out of there, pop, and now we're forward. So either way, we still want to pop our feet. Yes.
Ghana Horde. So what happens in that double drag if you're playing a team like OKC on defense?
Yeah.
And they actually cut off the middle on you, but then they can also recover. Are you resetting to bring it back out, or are you still trying to attack middle?
You mean blitz the last screen, sorry?
No, I'm saying, so in a double drag, right? So like for instance, OKC when they play defense,
Yeah.
if somebody tries to double drag them,
Yeah.
they'll literally send Hartenstein and Chet right into the lanes, but they don't completely commit to the middle. They just play between the elbow of the free throw line and the elbow of the wing to make sure that they can easily recover out to the wing if they so happen to get in there and kick it out. So what do you do in the double drag if the defense is able to cut off middle and get back to contest? Are you resetting, or what are we doing there?
No, I think from that point on, we're just playing basketball, right? We're just trying to gain that advantage, right? Advantageous basketball. We want to gain that advantage, utilize that advantage, and keep that advantage, right? Keep that a circle. So in that scenario, I might do something different. I might put double guards there instead of bigs, right? And then I might tweak with that. Or again, I might clean a corner, and now instead I might have my guard slip, and now this whole corner is clean, and now he has a closeout situation to attack that paint, right? And now the big is just diving. So, I'm sorry. Thank you guys.
Oh, thank you, Regis.
Appreciate it.
All right, hey, so before we get to closeout decisions, and that's really what we're going to talk about, what we're going to go through on the court, I just wanted to talk a little about the methodology that we have and how we start practices. Fortunately, our strength conditioning staff isn't here because I'm going to tell you guys I don't really believe in how we start warm-ups with those 10-minute touch your toes, kick your legs. For us in College Park, when we start practice every single day, we're starting with basketball. And we're starting with a build-up, whether it's finishing, whether it's spacing, whether it's closeout decisions. So when our coaches put the presenters through the drills, you're going to see how we start practice every single day. Stat for you guys. Luka Doncic has the highest usage in the NBA. Usage basically means it's when the possession ends, what did that player do? So shot, turnover, assist. He has the highest in the NBA. He played 36 minutes a game last year. What percentage of the time do you think he had the ball in his hands? 80%? So Luka Doncic, out of 36 minutes last year, had the ball in his hands for 9 minutes. That means 75% of the game, he didn't have the ball in his hands. So the player with the highest usage, with the ball in his hands more than anybody else in the NBA, for 75% of the time he played, had to do something else. And so when we talk about how we want to train and how we want to develop our players, we talk about developing guys that can play on and off the ball, but when we train, it's how we space, it's how we attack closeouts. Because if you think about offensively, the most efficient things you're going to find is transition offense, and it's closeouts, outside of, offensive rebounding. So for us, when we have training camp, when we begin our first practice, the first thing we talk about is how we make quick decisions off the catch. Okay, it's something that when you're a kid, you don't necessarily learn. And it's something that when you get older, the game becomes really easy if you can make quick decisions. I think around the league, I think everybody here has probably heard of 0.5 decisions. Okay, for us, we talk about reading before the catch. And in our minds, when you read before the catch, where you see where your defender is, okay, when you're ready, the byproduct of that is that you make a 0.5 decision. Okay, Coach K Kerry Corver there is going to talk about the footwork and the way we actually train that. But for us, we want to start with the end in mind. And so before we put in a play, before we put in a pick and roll concept, we start with how we score with an advantage. And for us, we want to get the advantage, and then we want to use, and we really want to maximize the advantage. And the way we do that is with spacing and is with our closeout decisions. So right now, Coach K, you want to put him through it?
Yep. All right, let's do it. Okay, I'm going to have Jalen in the corner. This is where the players would be. I'm going to have Hugh be my defender. This would be maybe a coach of yours. And I'm going to have Malik be another coach here. He's going to make this pass from the high quad. Okay, so the read is out of this corner. The first type of footwork, there's going to be 3 types of footwork. It's really simple, but it's just all about making the read. So Hugh's actually going to be pretty low on this first one. And with the coach, you just script it for the first couple, and then you make it a live read. So this first one, as Malik makes this pass, I'm going to close out on the low side here. Jalen sees that, but as the ball is coming to him, he sees both the ball and his defender in his peripheral vision. This is an opportunity to run through. That's what we would call it. Also, you could call it breaking on the ball. So instead of waiting on the ball to come to me, I'm trying to go meet this ball on this pass. And now I'm going to the rim for the finish. So let's make this pass. Meets it, perfect, all the way to the rim. And you can work on different types of finishes and also different types of defense as well. Okay, that would be the run through. That's the first one. Next one, Hugh's going to just give a pretty good closeout. He's pretty straight on. We really like to work on being on 2 feet and getting to a cross step. So I'm going to land on 2, and I'm going to go right past his top foot. So let's do that real quick. Boom. A lot of players like to establish a pivot foot. Makes sense. A lot of our players are taught that, but we feel like either way he closes out, if I land on 2, that gives me an opportunity to step past his top foot either direction. So we like to emphasize that one. So now, after he knows both of those, you've worked on those as Hugh's closed out, now we're going to have a live read. Also, what we could add is Hugh closes out short, then we have a shot. So those would be the 3. So Hugh's going to close out either low side, or he's going to close out right down the middle. Jalen's going to make the read. Perfect. Great run through. It was great because he didn't wait on the ball to come all the way to him. He went and met it. His shoulders are already past the defense, and now he's just reading the second line. Okay, let's do it from a little bit of a different spacing. Let's get you in the high quad over this side, and we'll get Jalen in this high quad. Okay, so we're gonna add one more. This is the 3rd one. So we did the run through, cross step, both directions, and now we're gonna have the rip through. Hugh's in this, yep, perfect, on the nail shift here. He's gonna be coming to this high side. Maybe he's trying to get his hand in this passing lane. This is gonna open up the rip through going baseline. Perfect. So if possible, obviously it depends on the pass. If I can, I even would like to grab it on the run to get past Hugh. So let's see if we can do that a little bit. Perfect. So we're trying to just rip through baseline to get past him. So we would do this probably from all the different spacings on the floor, working on all those reads. We still would have a run through even on this one. So he closes out low side. Now I'm running through it. Perfect. Exactly. So then as we add, we build into it. Jalen's not always going to make the right read on this. So we also want to have counters because maybe he reads Hugh wrong. He tries to do a run through. Hugh cuts him off. Still want to be able to have a counter. And now I'm getting downhill to a 2-foot finish. Maybe there's more help side. So that would be basically from those 2 spots. We'd also do it from the other high quad, the other corner, just getting players comfortable with the run through, the rip through, cross step both ways. Let's do one more live read. Okay, perfect. Makes their own, yes, exactly. So we would work on that. So we would even be doing this before the games just to get them revved up and ready because that's what they're going to have to do in the game is make this actual decision on these closeouts. Just one more thing, then we would be adding 2-foot finishes. So if I had PK in here as well, we're attacking that closeout, getting past him, and now I'm working on all my different types of finishes I would want to do to get around PK and get a good finish. So there we go. Seth.
We're good? Okay, awesome. Steve and Kerry did a good job of introducing RBC concepts. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of combinations you can use with 2 players, 3 players, just kind of utilizing these skills. So right now, let me get Kendall with the ball right here. Malik, I'll have you as a defender. Jalen, you'll be corner defender. I can take 2 red jersey players right here. One's going to be in the quad, this wing right here, and one's going to be in the corner. Perfect. Thank you. So we'll start the drill out of a step-up ball screen, right? Common space in the basketball. PK, Hugh, I'll have you guys right here. This is a way we can kind of set up some long closeout situations where we can use some of these RBC techniques. So right now, if PK is setting the screen, he was guarding and he rolls. Now we've got spacing on this backside.
So even for the quad, we don't want to follow the ball all the way to it, right? Depending on how the handler moves, we might need to maintain our spacing, but we just want to stay in vision so that as these defenders in these shift spots, as they're trying to be big and take away these passes, we're creating a window and allowing ourselves to get open. So you're just taking a few steps, right, towards the center, and then you're taking a few steps up. Good. So now Kendall's going to pass the ball. This would be a swing for us. Now we're going to create a swing-swing situation. So we got one pass here to the quad. If we get another one to this corner, this is where this long closeout is created. Now we can use our RBC techniques. So on this long closeout, you're thinking get to a middle drive, right? He takes away the three, and now you're thinking get into the paint for a finish. So let's just do that one time here. Good, move one time, get into the middle, perfect, nice. I can get 2 new reds on right here, corner and quad. Good, we'll do the same thing, right? Pick and roll player comes off, we'll go swing, swing. This time, Larry, you'll rip it, baseline for a finish, yes. We're in vision, we're spacing, swing, swing, ripping the baseline, perfect. Again, just reading before the catch. Now what we can do is add constraints to the drill. So let's say we go swing, swing one time. Larry, you're gonna go middle, but as the rollers come down, if you're on defense, you're gonna step up as this help defender, right? So we beat the first one, and now I'm reading this help defender, whether it's a 1 foot or 2 foot finish at the rim. Let's do that one time. Good, swing, swing, we're getting middle, and reading it, just finding one. That's perfect. Perfect, right? We would do the same thing on a middle drive or baseline drive. Now what we can do is work on this relationship and spacing for this player in the quad, player in the corner. Let's say we go swing, swing here. Good, we move it one time. They play good defense, right? We're trying to get middle. Let's say Malik is in a heavy shift. What we can do now, yes, we can help out this offensive player. If I get a little light slide, now I'm reading the defender, and now I got a wide open three and another RBC opportunity here for a shot, right? Same thing, if we reset it, add another constraint. Good, we got that help defender. Let's say Larry rips baseline. Let's say there's help, Malik shifts. Exactly, I can just kind of, and I don't necessarily have to come all the way to the corner, right? Because that'll kind of put us in a close window with this spacing. But if you're kind of right above this break and Larry's control playing off a 2, I can pass it back and just find a wide open 3 right there, okay? So let's do that one more time. Now, Larry, you're just reading Jalen's closeout and you're reading the shift help. You don't have to necessarily pull in coaches. If you've got coaches or players that are kind of mixing it up defensively, you can just train yourselves to make these different reads throughout the course of these drills. So same thing here, one time. We go swing, swing. I read the closeout. Good, just find the finish, good. Either way, right? Whether it's the early help, early shift, we're just working on those early decision-making processes. We'll go to another drill now. Kendall, you go corner for me? I'll take one more red jersey. Let's go corner, quad, perfect, right there. Good, we got coaches matched up here. You can go there. I got another player in that quad for me. Right on the wing. Perfect. So right now, we're gonna just talk about a 3-man drill, initiating with an RBC drive. So we're gonna move it one time. Let's say Malik takes away this baseline, you're getting to the middle. Perfect. Now in this situation, as the defender helps and as you're chasing, now we're reading, right, this help defender. You can hold your space in the corner for right now. Like if you're a cutting team, it's a great way to emphasize that. We would call that a sneak, just finding that cut to the rim. But for here, as we're driving and you're playing off of 2 feet, let's say PK is taking away this quad. You've got a clear option now to the corner. Good, as this happens and you make this pass, a lot of NBA teams, if you're watching today, they'll emphasize a lot of 4-out, 1-in spacing concepts. It just kind of opens up the floor. It gives players around the perimeter more space and room to drive and make RBC decisions. So as you make your pass, you can just kind of hang out in what we call the read spot right here. A lot of you might know it as the dunker. But whether you're a guard or a big, it's just a good spacing tool to use to kind of create these 4-out, 1 advantages. So as you pass it, you're in the read spot, right? Let's say right now, Hugh, you were helping. PK would take that first pass. Let's say PK takes away that shot. We move it one time. Now we're in another RBC decision-making process. So if you stay in that corner, I drive Hugh. Now we're playing again. Same thing we just did. We either got shot, pass, or if PK helps, we got to pass out to the corner. So one time for this, let's go drive, kick to the corner, one up pass. We'll drive it to the middle, and then we can make a pass to that read spot right there for a layup. Good, RBC. We need Kittle to make a good pass, good. Drive to the middle, we're gonna kick corner. We go one up, RBC driving middle, perfect, yes. We deliver that pass, we find a finish. And also understand, for that read spot spacing, you can also read these defenders. Let's say we get down, if you go down to that read spot for me. Right, this player makes this drive. Let's say he's not open right now in this read spot, where we can help this player make an easier decision. I might flow and just fill to this other side on the baseline. Now PK has to make a decision, right? If Malik stays, he's got to either take away the rim, which the rim is the priority. If he does that, now I got a wide open kick out to this corner, okay? Let's reset it here. Last one we'll talk about is if we get to the read spot, if you want to empty out, utilize your spacing on the perimeter, we'll just focus on emptying to the corner. So let's go same thing. We'll go one up here, RBC drive. Good, defense helps. We move it. Now this time, hold your drive. Instead of holding the read spot, you can just empty out to the corner. Perfect, and now we're making this read versus low man right here. RBC drive, you either got score, if you don't have score, now we got a wide open three in the corner. Okay, so Malik, just make a very clear decision, whether it's you're helping or you're just staying with your own. Team Red will find a score here. Good, one pass, RBC drive. Good, we'll reset it here, reset it. That is an option though. That is a way that you can layer it, but we'll go corner pass, one up, and then we'll drive it again. Yes. Good, got help, they go corner. Move it one time, yes. Now we drive that one. Good, Malik stays with his own, and you have a wide open paint touch for a score, okay? So again, just a couple concepts. Great job, great job. Couple concepts, right? Just thinking, like playing through the paint, trying to be efficient, moving the ball, sharing the ball, and playing out of advantage situations.
Y'all give it up for Coach Clyde, Coach Seth, Coach Karen.